to me.
Even better, Tom.
It's our old buddy Terry McAuliffe, the former governor of Virginia, the former chair of the Democratic Party. He's working with the campaign. This is your 13th convention, Terry?
First one was 1976. Now, I was still in college when I went, but New York City, when President Carter got the nomination. So I've been doing this a long time, 45 years.
Wow.
But
you were telling me you slept on the floor to get in?
So I went 96 with my dad. We had no tickets, nothing. We ended up, sleeping on the floor of a friend's hotel room. We'd heard Carter was going to be coming down the elevator in the Sheraton Hotel in New York. So my dad and I waited 3 hours, and he walked by. We got to shake his hand. I was so excited. No tickets or anything. 4 years after that, we go back. I'm the national finance director for President Carter's reelection campaign.
Wow.
How do you like that? And
great.
I had pockets of credentials then.
Yeah, that is great.
I was giving them out to everybody, worked on the elevators,
That is
everybody.
great. And if Reagan hadn't cut a deal with the Iranians.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It really is.
You just saw the story come out a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
About Ben Barnes.
Ben Barnes, who I just saw the other day, and we all knew it, but we couldn't prove it.
Yeah. Well, Bonnie Sauter, the president of Iran, came over here and gave an interview to the Christian Science Monitor in 2015 in which he said, I tried to release the hostages along with President Carter, and the Ayatollah short-circuited me, and I went to the Ayatollah and asked why, and he said because right now they'd already started shipping spare parts via Israel into Iran, and this was before the election.
Yeah.
I mean, Reagan cut the deal, and he was fulfilling that deal even before the election.
Yeah.
And then, on December 24th, 1992, George Herbert Walker Bush had lost the election. Bill Clinton was coming in. And Lawrence Walsh subpoenaed his diary, which proved that he had a role in it.
Yep.
And Bill Barr was the Attorney General, and he advised Bush, and he talks about this in one of his interviews for his diary, or for his, it's one of the university things. He said, pardon them all. Pardon Caspar Weinberger. Pardon all of and that killed the investigation. Yeah. Screaming headline in the New York Times, cover-up of Iran-Contra.
Bill Casey?
Bill Casey was the guy who put it together.
He's the guy who put the whole thing together.
It was just
and when your listeners, they may not realize this or remember, some of them are so young, but Carter was leading right up to the weekend before that election.
That's true.
And it was when the last thing, that Friday, another false Iranian, that they were going to release him, and it fell apart, and we cratered overnight. Right. But that election, Carter was leading the entire fall.
Oh, I know. It's I was watching it. I remember it well, and which reminds me, and this is where I would love to get your opinion, because you know this stuff better than any, certainly a lot better than me. 2 weeks before the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton was up 12 points in the polls.
Yep.
12 points.
Yep.
Kamala Harris is up 3-4 points. Should we be worried?
Always have to be worried. I feel great about where we are. I remember like it was yesterday. I was governor, and I was out having a meeting in the backyard, and my aide came and gave me a note and said, Jim Comey has reopened the email investigation. Now, I know there's an unwritten rule, as you know, like 90, 120 days before the election. DOJ does nothing that could impact the election. Now, for them, and I'm best friends with the Clintons, for him to reopen, I said, there must be something there. And overnight, we lost independent women like 7-1.
Yeah, I heard it was a 3-point drop immediately.
Overnight.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, 5-6 days later, I'm sorry, they were all duplicates. There's nothing there.
Right.
And they released that, Tom, Sunday afternoon after the Sunday shows were over.
Wow.
So we got screwed out of 2016. We got screwed out of 2000.
Do you think Jim Comey had a partisan motivation in that, or was he just so intimidated by the Republicans? Or what do you think caused him to do that? He's never given a good answer for it, to the best of my knowledge.
And you're not supposed to do that, and there was nothing there. So why they didn't dedupe and find out these were duplicates, they had these things for a couple months.
Right.
No one's given me a good answer to that. I think he was probably, terrified of Giuliani, who was pushing his buttons every single day.
Yeah, there were a bunch of, hardcore Republicans in the DOJ.
100%.
And the FBI.
Yeah.
I mean, law enforcement draws those kind of people. Yeah, absolutely.
Clearly cost us the election. Hillary be president. Think of that, the experience. I mean, think of where we'd be today. Think where we'd be if Al Gore, who actually had won that election, never would have gone into Iraq.
No, when they did, when the New York Times did the recount a year later, they found Al Gore
100%.
clearly won the election in 2000.
No question.
So, which raises two questions. Number one, do you think that the Supreme Court's going to intervene this time and, just like in 2000, hand the election to the president? And Well, and what sort of dirty tricks, what sort of last-minute October surprise are you anticipating coming from the Republicans? Because they always do it.
Yep. So here we are kicking off the convention. We're in as good a shape, honestly, I will say, Tom, as we've ever been. There's usually, as you know, you and I have been doing this a long time, we come to these conventions, there's warring factions from the primaries. Takes time to heal. We don't have any of that this time. Everybody's here. Happy, joyful. I've never seen anything like it. The president will speak tonight, hand it over to Kamala Harris. So I think we're in great shape, record amount of money, record grassroots. Everything is going our way. There are, as you say, 2 or 3 more turns of this screw that we don't know today.
Right.
That's my point to Democrats. We cannot relax. We have got to really fire up. We have got to win by such a big margin. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Georgia. Big enough margin, who cares with Donald Trump? Now, he won't have the bully pulp of the White House, but, you know, he's not just going to walk off into the sunset.
No, he's fighting for his life. He doesn't want to go to prison.
He's going to go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, he is, let's be honest. We are running against a convicted
This guy's a criminal.
Yeah. No question.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's amazing you and I are even saying this.
I know.
And the race is even like.
I know. I've been doing this show 20 years. 21 years. I never, well, I've been on this planet 73 years. I never would have imagined anything like this. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It's just,
accused of raping a woman in the Bergdorf Goodman dressing room.
Convicted,
sleeping with a porn star, Stormy.
Yeah.
Karen McDougal. I mean, he is sleeping with her the night that his wife is delivering the child. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
What happened to Gary Hart?
Oh,
and it was just a picture.
Yeah,
it was just a friggin' picture. And it turns out, we learned later, she set this up on behalf of a right-wing guy who paid her.
Yeah, even better, Jimmy Carter, who in Playboy magazine said he lusted in his heart. Like, really?
Right, and it hurt him a couple of points in the polls.
Yes, it did. Nothing happened.
It's like,
it's just the whole thing is.
So is it that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have different standards, or is it that we have become so rigidified, so ossified in our tribalism that basically it doesn't matter who the candidates are?
Yeah, I think Bill Clinton, and let me first of all give a happy birthday wish, President Clinton today.
Was it his birthday today?
Today's 78 today. Happy birthday, Mr. President. But he had the best line, I think. You know, Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah.
And they're going to vote for, many of them going to vote for Trump no matter what. But listen, we're in a great shape. We're really good. We just got to keep, I mean, she's fighting for freedom, you know, women's reproductive rights, protecting democracy, lifting everybody up. And, you know, Trump's got his crazy 2025 plan, really destroying democracy. He makes me angry. And I've known him for a long time. I mean, you know, he was a Democrat most of his life. This whole thing was a charade when he ran. But the idea...
Did you used to fundraise from him?
He did, yes. When I ran for governor, he gave me $25,000.
I know. You gave money to Kamala Harris.
Gave $10,000 to Kamala Harris. Right, exactly. But here's a guy that tells President Putin you can go invade NATO countries.
Right.
You know, I have a son who was a captain of the United States Marine Corps, and I find it so offensive that this guy would say to the people who lost their lives wearing our uniform and cloth of our country that they were suckers and losers. Yeah. He didn't fight. Yeah. He had 6 deferments. I think it disqualifies him from being commander-in-chief. It just disgusts me.
I agree. I completely agree. So we have 15 seconds left. What's the high point you're looking forward to here at the convention?
Tonight, the president will hand it off, President Biden, talk about his accomplishments, hand it off to her. Thursday night, she's going to knock it out of the park, talk about biography about her upbringing, but where she's going to take this country. Yeah. I'm telling you, this has got a lot like 08 in it. It's fired. I'm fired up.
I'm
fired up, ready to go.
Yeah, and I think it's the first time in a long time, I mean, since back in the Harry Truman days, that we've had a couple of middle-class people running for the top office.
Yeah.
Terry McAuliffe, it is always a pleasure and honor to have you with us. Thanks so much. There you go.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.